Welcome. How y'all doing? My name is Dennis Jacob Berry. I would like to invite y'all to Oakwood Cemetery to journey with me as we to say thank you to the black community and the historical people that have laid footprints in Austin, Texas, and accomplished so many different things that they should be recognized and they should be remembered. We have doctors, we have musicians, we have just community leaders, we have principals. Today, I'm gonna explain to you who I am and how important Oakwood Cemetery is to the black community. I'll be talking to you about all of them in just a minute. Come with me.
Why me? Why they wanna try me? Knowing that they never stop me. I see through you like a crystal glass with a splash of liquor. I splash it with my glass is bigger. Why me? Why they wanna
My name is Dennis Jacob Berry, and I would like to introduce you to my grandfather. Jacob Fontaine was born in 1808, Arkansas. He was bought into slavery to another man named Everett Fontaine. So he carried the man's name through the ownership. It's kind of crazy just to be thinking that a person could own another person. But my grandfather was born into slavery and lived long enough to watch us be free through emancipation. I'm gonna explain to you how amazing this man was, and still is, to me and to the history of America, because this is an untold story. Jacob Fontaine, master was Everett Fontaine, which was a minister, known as a politician. He was a military veteran also. He taught my grandfather. He had my grandfather study up under him as a minister, which made my grandfather a minister in later on years. They preached at First Baptist Church here in Austin, Texas. My grandfather preached to the masters and the slaves at the same time, in or around about the early mid-1800s. What amazes me is we were talking about segregation and stuff in the 1960s, but in the 1800s, they were willing to listen to my grandfather, the masters, the whites that were enslaving his people. He was able to minister to them at a church called First Baptist Church here in Austin, Texas, by going through the records, going through the archives here in Austin, Texas. I found out how amazing my grandfather was. I really already knew because he's never stopped. All my grandfathers all continued to be the same things. They always continued to be a part of the community. They were entrepreneurs, they were ministers, they were men of the cloth, and they always loved the people. Every last one of my grandfathers did this. Remember, I'm the 5th generation. But this man laid a foundation that was so strong. He organized over 2,000 ministers. He founded so many different churches, you can't even name them all. I can't remember them all. But he created so many different organizations. He helped organize the black communities back in the 1800s. He created grocery stores, laundromats, the first newspapers, companies. He went and organized black men and explained to them how important it was to vote. They wouldn't have UT here today in Austin, Texas. The University of Texas was going up, and they was trying to figure out if they was going to move them to San Antonio, where they was going to build the university at, where it was going to be. And my grandfather went and got 2,000 extra votes to make sure that UT was built here in Austin, Texas, his home. He wanted his grandkids to be able to go to this school. And you know, it took all the way until 19-something, 1960s or 70s or something for a black person to be able to even to learn something in UT. I love our people, and we have went through so much. And I think that we would be so great, more so, and if we just known that we had Black Wall Streets before the 1920s. This man started a whole movement right out of the emancipation. We were great straight out of slavery. We were great before slavery because my grandfather was already educated. You know, when you think about black slaves, you think about our history here in America, all you've been taught is that we were in the fields. But you didn't know that we were in law. They wasn't telling us that we were in medicine. They didn't tell us we were in science. We was in mathematics. You know, they didn't tell us these things. But I just wanted to tell y'all how amazing this man was. And I think that knowing how important your past was, how important the people were, how strong they were, what they achieved, not the complaining, but what they overcome. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want y'all to see. That these people, even though they were in some of the most hardest places, going through the most hideous things, they were still winners. Hey guys, y'all remember the first Juneteenth? Well, T.J. Wells was born after the first Juneteenth, August the 10th, 1867, Springfield, Missouri. He was born the son of Frances Desmore Bridges, formerly enslaved woman, along with brother Williams Wells. He worked as a laborer in Austin, Texas. Later on in life, mother worked for Lewis Horse on a horse plantation in Austin, Texas. He had 4 additional children, fathered by Lewis' son, Charles. He was buried section 4 with the prominent marker near Oakwood Chapel, which is right here. Another one of our great, I wouldn't say fallen soldiers or nothing like that. I'm not gonna say that, but he is a soldier because he's a founder to our past and to our future.
Play on, player, I'ma keep creeping while I'm deep in my zone, player. Never know when it's all gonna be gone, player. Long as our hearts steady, being like King Kong, player. We can all be kings of our own thrones.
Hey, how y'all doing? Y'all like playing music? I'm gonna tell you about a musician named Eugene Ramey. He's a musician born in Austin, Texas, April the 4th, 1913. Ramey played bass with some of the greats. He became a fixture in Kansas City swing jazz scene in 1930s. Coming to 1944, he moved to New York City and played with Lester Young, Count Basie, Ben Webster, Coleman Hawkins, Charlie Parker, Hot Lip Page, Horace Silver, Thelonious Monk, and as a member of the Monks' first trio of 1947, along with drummer Art Blakely. And to top it off, Miles Davis. Come on, man. Legends, all legends. I salute. Eugene Ramey.
Addicted to music, too much is abusive. Like a syringe in my hand, shaking, try not to shoot it, but I gotta do it. Little voice in my head saying you're the flicker to my flame, you're my lighter fluid.
I remember as a kid in East Austin, I used to go to this park called Givens Park, and I used to have a blast. Man, it was a wonderful time. Had a swimming pool, had a rec center. After school, you can go there and have a good time, and it was safe. It was a nice place. On the weekends, you'd have barbecues, they have car shows and stuff. Man, it was real nice. I love that park. But you know, as a kid, you don't like wonder who's this park named after. You're just thinking it's just a park. You don't think who it's named after. But now, as I'm older, and I'm here in Oakwood Cemetery, I'm here to recognize the guy that the park was named after, Dr. Everett Givens. Dr. Everett Givens was an esteemed dentist and civil rights leader who accepted people of all race. He opened his dentist practice in 1910 on 6th Street. He served in World War I at 165 Brigade. After the war, he improved educational opportunities for families. He led initiatives on equal pay, equal work. He was an advocate in improving the quality of life here in Austin, Texas. Givens Park and Recreations in East Austin, Texas was named in his honor. Dr. Everett Givens, thank you. We're here at the site of Emma Carrington, the wife of Everett H. Carrington. Everett H. Carrington was an entrepreneur born on September the 27th, 1847 in Virginia. After emancipation, he moved here in Austin, Texas with his family. 1872, Carrington opened his successful grocery store here on 6th Street. He operated the store until 1907. After then, his son-in-law, Lyon, took over. He was a leader in Austin, Texas, and often dedicated his time to help families in his community. Let's talk about Louis D. Lyon, prominent African-American entrepreneur, property owner. He ran a successful grocery business on 6th Street. It was founded by his father-in-law, E.H. Harrington. The second floor of this grocery store served as a meeting place for African-American social and political organizations. Lyons helped develop Samuel Houston College, also Wesley United Methodist, and Friends in Need Fund and Mutual Benefits, a society covered in funeral expenses for African Americans. That's success. That's much needed in our community. And it's wonderful to know that this man existed from 1873 to 1944. Mary Frances Freeman Baylor was a resident of West Austin Freeman Colony, Clarksville. She volunteered at President LBJ War on Poverty and Programs to serve as a director in Clarksville Neighborhood Center. She fought Austin City Council to get utilities installed in Clarksville. After decades of discrimination, in 1978, she funded one of the first nonprofit community developing corporations in the nation to create affordable housing and prevent gentrification. Mary Frances Freeman Baylor, thank you. Now I want to talk about this. I grew up on the east side of Austin, Texas, and I remember we had just moved back from California. I was about like 9 years old. My mom had signed us up for Section 8. And when she did, it was a long list because it was something new. It was a new program to give you a chance for kids to grow up and get a different opportunity as far as their education goes. Because we already knew that the white neighborhoods, they had the best books. They had the funding was top notch. The conditions of the schools were better. They were well kept. But on the east side, where I grew up, our schools were, the last on the list. So my mom signed us up for this program for Section 8. And Section 8 was a program that would help poverty-stricken homes with kids be able to move into a better neighborhood and to be able to get a better quality of living. So Miss Baylor really helped me in that aspect. Now that I'm older, I see the benefit of Section 8. I didn't understand it. I just knew it was a program that my mom signed up for. I got to reap the benefits of someone that really had to struggle and fight for me to get a chance to get a better education, because the school that I went to, after my mom signed up for the program, we wound up going to a school called Pflugerville High, Pflugerville Middle School. And at the time, the educational level was set at a high quality. It was ranked like one of the top 10s in the nation as far as education goes. So it was better, and I appreciate her for being able to do that, and I appreciate my mom for taking the steps to want us to have better, to want the next ones up, to have that step up. Because I wound up learning as I was a kid, I realized that education increases. So the stuff that my mom learned in school, I learned that and some more. So I enjoyed the fact that I was able to bring back the education, the things that I was learning in school, and I would bring it back to my mom. And she would always say, "What did you learn today?" So, but it's not about me, it's about Miss Francis. And I appreciate her and her accomplishments, because I'm one of the ones that got a chance to learn from it. How y'all doing? I thought I'd have a conversation with you. Just to share how important this is to me, and how I feel like it should be important to everyone. To know where you're headed, you kind of got to know what you came from. Then you'll know where you stand and where you stand in the place that you stand at. It's hard to do so when you have no history. When you know nothing about your history, it's kind of hard to get that fuel to push, to keep going further. When you don't know where you came from, what type of material you've built off of. If you had no ancestors, no one to share with you the wins, the triumphs, because we already know bad comes with everything. Life is gonna happen. But those victories, they should be marked too. I don't want my gravesite to just be a date to date and just that dash. I want something in between that dash. These people that I talked about, they did something in between that dash. They did something. They didn't sit and complain. Because right now we're in a sensitive time where people are more sensitive and rather would sit on their sensitivity instead of put something in action. They'll rather sit up there and point fingers than do something about it. But we're not built off of that. We're not built off of people that just complained. It wasn't social media back then. It wasn't phones and computers. They was getting up and doing it. They didn't sit up there and call their best friends up across town, next state, next city over. No. They put in real physical work. Blood, sweat, and tears. They wasn't worried about an instant gratification. See, we're selfish. We want instant gratification. That's what we're in. We want to do something and then we want somebody else to clap right afterwards. Right afterwards. They didn't wait for no applause. They just kept going. They know that they futures to come were gonna be a little bit ahead of the game more than they were. And they were good with that. They were cool. They like, okay, everybody's gotta play a part. And they played their part like a champ. I feel like they deserve their flowers. They earned them. And, I'm honored to be one of the people to be able to give it to them. Along with Oakwood Cemetery, giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I can't wait to talk to you again because you already know there's more for it, you know. We haven't stopped, we're not gonna stop, and we're gonna keep on pushing forward. We're a force to be reckoned with. Bopic people, let's get it.